All right, and welcome into yet another edition of the Kyle McCord Show. It's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. You know what that means. Brian Higgins, Kyle McCord. We got a half hour with you guys. We got the chats going on both our Twitch stream at QSportsTalk.com, on the Q Sports Talk YouTube page. Get your questions in the chat, and we'll talk to Kyle for the next half hour. After we'll try to make this as pleasant as possible for you, Kyle, because I can't imagine you had a lot of fun here in the last few days. Just take us through it. Like, I got to imagine we're all watching that game Thursday night, and like, man, like it feels like any scenario of made up anything was going wrong. What was it like to be a part of that on Thursday?
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I just felt like, I never gave us a chance to win from the start, and that's a tough pill to swallow. I feel like just let the people around me down, but, I think that, it's going to be a good test of my resilience and our resilience as a team coming out this Saturday. And obviously playing on Thursday gives you even more time to just sit and think about it. And so, I've watched every single play like 10 times, just going through it, like, what could I have done different? So I think, definitely learned from it and grew from it, as painful as it was. And so now it's all about the get back. And so I'm excited to play. I'm counting down the days till Saturday, just to, turn the page and, get that taste out of my mouth.
Had you ever had anything like remotely like that ever happen before? Like, I can't imagine you'd ever dealt with anything quite like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it felt like everything that could have possibly went wrong. Every single tip ball just landed in their hands. I mean, that's, sometimes it's just the way the game goes. And I think when you're playing catch up, halfway through the first quarter, that's not the recipe for success. And, it was not fun at all.
Get your questions in the chat here for Kyle. Got eyes on both the Q Sports Talk chat on the Twitch and on the YouTube, so fire away for the Orange starting quarterback, and we'll answer as many questions as we can over the course of the next half hour. So I know there's the balancing idea, right? Like football, 24-hour rule, study it and go beyond it. How did you balance that of, all right, we got to look at this and see what went wrong versus let's move on to something else right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you want to learn from it as much as you can and understand the areas that you need to improve and get better. And, it's tough. Like, watching that film, it's tough, and it wasn't fun at all. But I tried to flush it as much as I could, but there's still a part of me that I think is going to hold on to that game until we play again. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I'm so excited to play on Saturday. And like I said before, playing on Thursday, made it even worse, I think, because, you had a few extra days to just sit and think about it. So count down the days till, we can get out and play again.
And it will be this coming Saturday. You'll be taking on Virginia Tech. And at least this Saturday, right, you don't got to wait around all day and stew about it. You'll hope and going early for a noon.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly what I wanted. A noon kickoff and, just get up and get after it.
Syracuse, Virginia Tech, noon Saturday. CW for the TV. Of course, you can listen over on TK99. All right, we got stuff coming in both chats here on Q Sports Talk on Twitch and on YouTube. Mike Couture says, hey, hang in there. Drop 50 this week. Yeah. That'd be a good bounce back,
There you go, yeah. Exactly. That's exactly where my mind is right now.
How much would, how does that play into, we know how things can go in a season. There is a momentum to the season. How much is this game important to just be like, all right, let's that's done.
Yeah.
Here's this outing and driving us into November.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to obviously learn from the losses, but at the same time, like, it doesn't matter if you get blown out or you lose by a last-second field goal. Like, it all counts the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we have to do a good job of, not letting Pitt bleed into Virginia Tech, and I think that we've done a good job of that so far, and I think we need to continue to just practice hard, prepare, and get ready to play Saturday.
I don't know how much you know about the retail of your jersey here. Dom from North Carolina, you took a picture with his son, I think, a couple weeks ago after the NC State game. His son now, big fan, wants a Kyle McCord jersey for Christmas. Do you have any idea where these are sold? Wherever Syracuse jerseys are available? I don't know.
Idea. I have no idea. I think... What didn't Manny's just close?
Shirt World just closed. Manny's is still rocking. Manny's is probably a good option.
Yeah, Manny's.
School bookstore feels like something.
Probably something like that.
Yeah. What's that like now? Because that is literally as of, 3 years ago, whenever NIL started. Before that, like, somebody You could have gone and bought it like a Q's 44 jersey. Those are out there. There used to be a lot of 5 jerseys out there, certainly after the McNabb era, but it was just a 5. Now somebody can go buy a 6, and it will say McCord.
Yeah.
Is that cool? Like, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, my mom puts in a huge order every year, and I think I make some money off of that too. I think you.
Yeah, I think with your name on it, you get something, right?
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool deal. It is cool seeing people wearing your jersey with the last name on it for sure.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing. I remember, the first year NIL came in is when Sean Tucker was here as a running back in his breakout year, and they started selling like Tucker 44 or not 34 T-shirts on the quad, and people are buying. I'm like, oh, this is like literally could never happen before.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat to see people be able to support you in real time here. Let's get some questions going in the chat for Kyle. Drop whatever you want to know. We can talk about it here on this Tuesday, getting you ready for Virginia Tech this week. So, not to harp on it too much, but you're studying the film from last game. What did you see? Was it just like, I can't believe all this happened? What was there like, all right, here is 1, 2, 3 things that, okay, we know what we can focus on this week? What was that process like for you?
Yeah, I think, just being extremely critical of yourself is the most important thing. And for me, I felt like didn't do a good job on first and second down of just keeping us ahead of the sticks, and felt like, we were just playing behind the sticks all night. And, just I think they got us to third down a lot, which, wasn't ideal. And I think, there were opportunities for, me to look one way, and, I look the other, and, sometimes that's just how it goes. And I think, you just have to be very, very critical, and, they had some good calls against what we called, but, that's football, and I have to do a better job of obviously just taking care of the ball. Even if, that means taking a sack on third down, as much as that sucks, punting the ball is better than, a turnover. So, just things like that where, it's never going to be, perfect, but at least, you just give yourself a chance to continue to stay in it. But, just made too many mistakes, especially early on, to even give us a chance. Yeah,
it's just, man, it's one where it felt like everything was running downhill away from you. All right, people have found where to buy your jersey. Links in the chat on Twitch. The Syracuse NIL store. $110, man. You can get Kyle a percentage on that. There we go. This is a nice orange McCord number 6 here. This looks really nice. I like this. That's a nice, you can get this Manny's has the jersey T-shirts, $30. Can or $27. We can get an orange jersey T-shirt with a nice number 6. There we go. Then Kyle can get Christmas presents for people because he'll get a little cut of that, which is nice. I think I saw. I don't remember what it was, 3-4 weeks ago. You were like one of the top selling merchandise guys in like the country on the NIL store. Like that's got to be kind of cool to see people want your stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Syracuse fans have been great. Just meeting people like even outside of like a football scene, they're all super pumped. And they've all just been super appreciative of me, and so it's been great. And then obviously seeing the support with people wearing my jersey, and I think the Dome has been a great environment, and so I'm excited to get back this Saturday. It's been too long.
All right, the one Mikey P is in the chat. He wants to know throughout the game. Fran was like, they had caught that moment on camera right before halftime, like he had you by the helmet and was talking to you, and clearly showed you support throughout the game and throughout the year. What does that mean to you, and how does that help you in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, when things aren't going your way, and it's a rough night, having the support of your head coach means everything. And he just told me that he still believed in me, and just keep playing. One play at a time, just keep playing. And it's been awesome having him in my corner. I went over and I went over to his house actually on Saturday and just spent some time with him, and I think that it's good, and obviously we were both frustrated after the game, but to have someone like that has your back no matter what, it's a good feeling.
All right, head coaches normally have a pretty sweet setup. What's the Fran Brown? I assume you guys are watching games or whatever. Yeah. What's the setup he's got cooking here?
I mean, you can get lost in his house. No, he's got a good setup. He had the food going too. So Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I guess that's what happens when you're the head coach.
He can afford the tab. I know that. That's
Yeah.
the head coach checks. They cash real nice.
Yep.
That's for sure. Ryan Mullen wants to know this, and this is interesting in I think the era of transfer portal and people moving around a lot. This is your only year here. What kind of legacy do you want to leave off the field? What do you want people to remember of Kyle McCord going forward when it is just 1 year?
I just want to win. I think that obviously this is a new era of Syracuse football, and I think me, Fidel Diggs, Marlowe, JB, like all those guys, OG, just want to be known as the guys that helped turn it around and get it back to what it once was. And I think that's just been my mission since the day I got here, and that's why I've been working so hard. And I think that if we do that, everything else will take care of itself in the future. And so, just want to be one of the guys that help get it back to what it once was. And that's still the mindset, and that's still the mission.
Showbro Michael says we're behind you guys, Kyle. I think we found that from the Syracuse community, right? How much have you seen that in social media and out and about here the last few days? Cuse fans trying to pick you guys back up.
Yeah, I mean, they've been awesome. I had to go to it was like a NIL event on Saturday, and obviously, wasn't necessarily the first thing I wanted to do, but me and a few of the guys went, and just the support that we got from everybody saying that they still had our back, and they were still really rooting for us, and had belief in us. And I think just hearing that, it's it's motivating knowing that there's still a lot of football left. And I think that this month of November is extremely important to this program, and there's still a lot to play for. And as much as it stinks, it's only one loss, and still 5-2 with the opportunity to go out and win a lot of games. So I think that that's the biggest thing, is just making sure that we do everything we can to win this last stretch of the season.
Drop your questions in the chat for Kyle. Got eyes on both the Twitch at QSportsTalk.com and the YouTube Q Sports Talk chats here, so either place is good. And we'll get it to Kyle up until roundabouts 11:30 here today. Fran was asked about the idea of November yesterday, and not to burden you with Syracuse's recent history, November hasn't gone so well in many years recently. And Fran's answer was basically to the gist of, I wasn't here. What does that affect me? Does it affect you guys at all? Like, you weren't here. Like things were. November was kind of wonky last year. Yeah. You weren't here. Half-ish the team was. How does the end of seasons not going great affect you guys, or is it this is so new now that doesn't matter? Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I think that we know kind of how Novembers have gone here in the past. Like you said, not ideal. So for us, obviously wasn't here last year. Fran wasn't here last year. There's a lot of guys that weren't here last year. So it's about bringing a new mindset. And I think at this point in the season, teams either go one of two directions. They start trending up, or they start dropping them. And so I think that we have to have that championship mindset. And this is, I think it's fitting that we're kind of at, a fork in the season. And, I think that, we have, one or two ways. And I think that we only have one opportunity, or really one opportunity, I'd say, to respond. And that's, this week. And you just have to take it one game at a time, and just continue to look at it like that.
Here's an interesting question from Any Name Is Good One. And we spend a lot of time talking about this, but I don't know if I've really talked about this a lot with any active players. Conference realignment's going on all over the place. What do you, as a current player, what do you think it should look like? What would Kyle McCord want the conference scene to look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's wild, and I wouldn't be surprised in a few years if I think it's just all independent teams, and you kind of just build your own schedule. But I mean, I think it would make sense to split it up into 8 different sections by geography and just where you are in the country, like Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, West, all that. I think would be cool. And then you have all the schools that are kind of recruiting against each other, playing each other. So I think that'd be, in my opinion, the best way to do it. But it's college football is changing, and it's definitely a crazy scene. So I'm excited to see. I mean, who would have thought a few years ago that Stanford and Cal would be in the ACC and UCLA and USC would be in the Big Ten? Like it's constantly changing.
Nobody. No, I guess a few people must have, or else it wouldn't happen. But hadn't crossed my mind a few years ago. For you as players, you mentioned that too. I don't think a lot of people consider this. Like if the conferences are regional, like and or have played against a lot of guys on the other teams. What does that do when you're playing against dudes that either you played with or played against in high school, or you're on the same official visit or stuff like that?
Yeah, no, I think that it would kind of give teams bragging rights. I know obviously, like for example, I know a lot of kids at Rutgers, but being in the ACC and them in the Big Ten, even though they're like 3.5, 4 hours away, you're never really going to play them unless it's like a ball game or out of conference game. So I think it would be fun to play a team like that every single year. Like you said, going up against kids that you've played against a whole bunch, and I think just to compete on the college level would be fun.
Yeah, I mean they are the closest major conference team to here, that's for sure. And the Syracuse and Rutgers have played once. I think just the once since they both left the Big East, if I'm remembering right, a handful of years ago in the Dome. They were supposed to play another time, but it got canceled in the COVID year. Here's a completely random question from Devin. What is your favorite Eminem lyric? Do you have a favorite Eminem lyric?
Yeah.
Can you say your favorite Eminem lyric out loud? I guess is another follow-up part of that.
I think Jameis Winston quoted it yesterday before the game. He was like, "You only got one opportunity." I forget exactly what he said. You only get one shot. Do not miss your opportunity. Something like that. So
he's going with lose yourself. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Lose yourself is about as old as you are now, which is I don't like that. That song was out when I was in college. That's a little different. Okay, what do we got here? VP wants to know thoughts on Jaden Daniels. I mean, well, that was an unbelievable play.
Yeah, no, that was wild. I mean, if I'm the defensive coordinator, anytime you're in that situation, I would blitz, just to try to, get him down and not allow him to get the pass off. But yeah, that was wild. That whole sequence. I think there's like a clip of a dude on the Bears, like talking to the fans, like as
he
the
was
plays
talking
going
trash to the fans when the play started.
Yeah, I mean that whole thing was wild. Yeah.
And he was the one that actually tipped the ball up in the air too, which is not the best look of all time for how to. Do you remember back? Like I always think back to you're probably too young for this. It used to be when the games are over on Sunday before Sunday Night Football on ESPN, you turn to watch Prime Time with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. Yeah. Tom Jackson would always yell, "Knock it down!" Yeah. But you probably have zero memory of that, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't. But yeah, man,
it was a very important lesson to young people back in the day.
Instead of trying to, if you're on defense, just bat it down. That's I think that they want to have like the game winning interception, and I think sometimes the less, I guess, sexier play is always the move. Yeah,
if the ball hits the ground, the game is over. Sometimes it's that simple. Devin says the Jameis thing is what inspired that question. So you were. Jameis is kind of wild, right? Those speeches. You ever do anything close to a Jameis pregame speech?
No, I mean he is. I
don't know if anybody has.
Yeah, no, I think. Saw one yesterday where he was like, go out and represent the name on your back and the name on the helmet. And then he like paused and he's like, well, we don't have a decal on the helmet, so just do it for the Browns. No, he's funny. He's very thorough. Yeah, he's funny. You've never eaten a W like he like he did that time? That was that's one of the all-time like, what is he doing right now? Yeah. What do we got here? Any Name is Good wants to know. We've talked about the Manning Passing Academy before. You were there. When was it? A couple summers ago? It was last summer. This summer? Yeah. Okay, this past summer. What happens in a day? What do you do there? The days are long there. I mean, you fly into Thibodaux, Louisiana. It's a thriving airport, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, actually, I take that back. You fly into New Orleans. Okay. And then you have to drive like an hour to Thibodaux. It's like 110 degrees. So you have to fly down there, and then each day wake up at like 6:30, 7, and then you have like a staff meeting. So that goes on for an hour, and then you have drills for like 3 hours, and then you got a lunch break, and then you have more drills, and then that's over, and then I think you eat, and then the college quarterbacks throw, and then after that at night it's 7-on-7. So each college team gets their own 7-on-7 team that you have to coach. And then after that, there's like a social event that you go to. They're long days, and you don't get a lot of sleep, and you're out in the sun a lot, but it's fun. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I feel like if you get the opportunity to go, you definitely should.
All right, how was Coach McCord? How was your coaching?
I was all right. I wasn't bad. Rocking the bucket hat out there. I had good like coach swag, I guess you could say.
A little too hot for the Manning quarter zip, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no, it was like you step outside and you start sweating. But I was all right. I mean, I was just putting him through drills that we do here, just, trying to make it as game-like and realistic as possible.
Do you watch Manning cast at all?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
What do you take, like, that? I find that fascinating. Like, they're talking, especially with Belichick on now, they're talking in such, like, inside football stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what do you take away from hearing those guys talk like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like watching it, is because they see the game from a quarterback's perspective. And I think their personalities complement each other well. I think Peyton is definitely more outgoing, whereas Eli, you have to crack his shell a little bit. But, I think they're funny. And then some of the people I have on, it's great. Like Belichick, obviously, he's a lot of fun listening to. And just throughout, the weeks, just seeing some of the different people they get on there, it's funny.
That LT on last night, Lawrence Taylor with Belichick going back to the old Giants days, that made me feel better. Other than what the rest of the game I was watching, that wasn't very fun last night for the Giants. None of my teams have done well in Pittsburgh here this week, Kyle.
It's been
stop going there. That's the lesson, I guess.
It's been a rough week for me football wise. Obviously,
yeah, you're a Jets guy too. That didn't.
Jets lost. Fantasy team lost by 1 point. Like
1 point.
1 point. Couldn't catch a break this week.
I got hammered in fantasy, so I didn't even.
Yeah.
150, one or the other. Did not go well. Did not go well. All right, what else do we got going on in the chat? Devin wants to know, do you say Peyton or Peyton? Yeah, Peyton just can't stop with the commercials, can he? They're just everywhere.
Raking in the money. Can't blame him.
Yeah, he's doing well. All right, Ben Richardson wants to know, how's your shoulder doing? You threw, 64 passes last game? We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
You're young and spry. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. My body's all good. Obviously, you got normal soreness after the game, but, I think kind of deserves it, to be honest. So I feel good going into next week.
All right, Ryan Mullen, who I was playing in our listener fantasy league this week, says, yes, you did lose by 50, Brian. Yeah, I know, Ryan. I know it did not go well. Things went terribly wrong. Things went horrendously wrong. Nobody touchdowns. I've heard you need touchdowns if you want to win. If you want to, yes. Mike, one of our producers who's in here, who is co-managing the team with me. Yeah, our team is also tragically hurt. Things are going sideways with that. No, nothing good going on with our fantasy team right now. Everyone loves hearing about other people's fantasy teams. All right, any other questions here in the chat for Kyle here as we're getting you ready for Virginia Tech? I look at Pitt and that game, and man, they gave you a lot of looks right on defense that were. I don't know, to me, they looked very different than stuff you've dealt with this season. How does that prepare you going forward? Or does Virginia Tech or anybody else do stuff like that? Or is that a one-off kind of thing? Or now because you've seen it, you're like, well, other teams are clearly going to try that.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you kind of dig yourself in that big of a hole early on in the game, you have no choice but to play catch-up. So they could play their kind of third down package, pass defense a lot of the time, knowing that, we had to throw our way to try to get back in the game. And I think anytime, you throw the ball that much against those looks, they're gonna throw some good calls at you, and that's exactly what they did. So I think, the best way to avoid seeing those looks all game is, to not do what I did and, give them essentially, 17 free points to start the game. And like I said, just have to play catch up. So just start fast and stay on schedule. And I think that's going to be a big point of emphasis this week for us is just starting fast and making sure that we can establish the run game and get going early on.
All right, here's one from Any Name is Good. I don't think they do this anymore, but he wants to know, what do you know about the Wonderlic test? I don't think they do that anymore. Anything similar the NFL does in the draft process, like any of the whatever cognitive stuff they're doing. What do you know about that? And Like, can you prep for that at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I think they prep you for everything, getting ready for the draft. And I think I took it like one time in like 7th or 8th grade, and I don't even know what I scored. But I think it's like the S2 cognition test now.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the name.
Yeah,
for it.
they don't do the Wonder. I don't know. The Wonderlic was
Yeah.
biased against something. I have no idea.
I remember C.J. Stroud took it, and he didn't score well, and people made like a whole big deal out of it before the draft. And then obviously
He seems to be doing okay.
Yeah.
6-2 or whatever he is, right?
Yeah.
Right now. Okay, Dom wants to know this. So one of the more famous games in Q's history happened against Virginia Tech. Have you seen McNabb to Brominski, the highlight from 1998 that won the game on the tight end throwback?
Yep. They I forget who I was talking to. I want to say Dwight Freeney maybe sacked Michael Vick in the Dome.
He did not that game. That was a different Virginia.
Yeah,
he sacked Vick 4.5 times in one game.
Yeah, that's right.
And they lost, which is also crazy.
Yeah. I remember. I've seen some of the highlights of that game. So it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited to get back in the Dome. It's been too long. Obviously going the whole month of October without a home game isn't ideal. Traveling a whole bunch, so I'm excited.
All right, VP in the YouTube chat wants to know who is the favorite CUSE alum you've met so far.
That's a good question.
Had a lot of guys coming back around the way here in the last few months.
Yeah. Donovan McNabb is definitely up there. Obviously being from like the South Jersey Philly area, like grew up watching him play for the Eagles, so meeting him was pretty cool. Dwight Freeney was pretty cool as well. And then some of the younger guys like Andre Sisco, Garrett Williams, a bunch of them came back for the spring game. So I'd probably say those handful of guys were probably the coolest to meet.
All right, so a good little mix of the legends and the more recent guys on the team. What does Ryan want to know here? You're a guy that you're coming from last year, save for this year, you've played outside your whole life. Now you've got a dome. What is the advantage? Who has an advantage going into a dome late in the season if you play outside or not? Is there one? How does that play into these dome games in November?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me as a quarterback, I like playing in the dome more because you don't have to worry about any of the weather. But I think that if we have an outdoor game that whole week, we'll be outside practicing. If it's on grass, we'll be on grass. If it's on turf, we'll be on turf. So that's kind of just how we've been preparing. And I feel like, you don't get too much of an advantage, in my opinion, playing in, one stadium or the other. But I definitely think the crowd makes an advantage at the dome, when it's loud and it traps the noise. And I know it's hard for the other team. And I think that we've seen it this year. They've caused some false start penalties for sure.
Tom wants to know, what's the difference? Or what's the biggest thing? Is it wind? Is it noise? What is the biggest thing you notice from inside to outside?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would probably say the noise for me. I think in the dome, when the fans get going, it gets loud, and it's a different type of loud. Obviously, it's not 100,000 people, but being in the dome, it traps all the noise in, and it kind of echoes a little bit, and so it's hard to communicate. And thankfully, most of the time when it gets super loud, it's either after a touchdown or I'm on the sideline when the defense is on the field. So I would definitely say the noise, just going across, is probably the biggest home field advantage you can get.
Darth Rail wants to know, are you going to be in any trading card packs this year? Are you in any of the college card packs?
I should be.
You get a cut of that? How does that work?
I don't know on the top of my head. I've done some before.
Ooh, have you signed any? Is there like a Kyle McCord 1-of-1 out there?
Yeah, but it was last year, so it was all.
Oh, it's Ohio State stuff.
It's all Ohio State stuff.
I don't want that.
So
I
need to get a new deal with the Syracuse cards. Get those going.
We need the good stuff. I don't want your Ohio. No, that's no good. I want a McCord 1-of-1 Cuse auto jersey pack. I don't know. It's a game used football. It's something. They got all that stuff now. Lots of people saying that they enjoyed the way you guys, seeing this is kind of combining multiple people here, that they liked how you guys handled yourself after last week. What do you think that says about this team?
I think, we're resilient. And, I think that all the guys have, been counted out before, myself included. And so now it's a great opportunity to show how we can bounce back. And I've never looked forward to playing a game so much as I did this weekend. And obviously getting back at home and, just getting an opportunity to right the ship. So I'm excited. Obviously didn't put my best performance out on the field on Thursday. And so I think, I owe it to my teammates, the fans, the coaches, and myself to go and get one back.
All right, that's a good way to wrap things up for this week. Thanks to everyone coming out and to both the YouTube and the Q Sports Talk on the Twitch chats. Lots of great questions today. We'll be back here at 11 o'clock next Tuesday with Kyle, and same way every Tuesday for the remainder of the season here. Houston, Virginia Tech coming up at noon. You'll see this guy on the field. So for Kyle, I'm Brian. We'll talk to you again next week.